A year ago today, I published a mobile game and then disappeared off the face of the earth. So the question is, how much money has that made me? It has been 367 days since I published my last video. Somehow in that time, my subscriber count has quadrupled, despite me not having new content, and I'm sure it'd be far above that if I had new content. I'm sure a lot of you are curious about where I've been this last year, so I will catch you up to speed and tell you what I've been working on. But if all you care about is the title of this video, that means you're probably new here, so hi, subscribe. But that also means you can jump to this timestamp if you want to ignore the stuff about my personal life. Anyway, let me walk you through it month by month. At the end of last January, I posted my video, which was actually the first part 2 to any video on my channel, which I was extremely proud of, about my mobile game Radius, which was actually the first video on my channel as well. Now, I am a game development hobbyist. I don't make money off of this, meaning it's not technically a profession. And as with many hobbies, after I completed one project, I immediately jumped into another. If you'll recall, around January last year was the time that Wordle was extremely popular. And I, being a YouTuber, wanted to get on that trend. But as I hope you've noticed by now, sometimes my creativity will outweigh my laziness, so instead of just creating basic Wordle and copying it, I decided to put my own twist on it. So my plan was to create Wordle, and then based on how you did in the actual game of Wordle, you would have a tower defense game afterwards, where the path that the enemies would take, in this case they'd be 5-letter words, would follow along the path of the correct location and letter, and correct letter but incorrect location tiles in the Wordle, and they'd bounce through it, and you could build towers on the spots that weren't blanked out. So the question is, why didn't I pursue this? And the answer is I have no idea how to make a tower defense game. Wordle? Easy. I made that in probably half an hour. Tower defense, on the other hand, mind you, a procedurally generated tower defense is a little tougher. And at this point, college was getting a little bit harder. I was getting into the proper meat of the course, and actual programming classes were beginning to draw a lot of my attention. Mind you, this was early February. And so, unfortunately, this project just kind of stagnated. And by the time I got back around to it a couple months later, Wordle had really died down, and I just didn't have a passion for making it anymore. But that raises the question, what did I have a passion for making? And I think that answer will please a lot of you, because that answer is making a part 2 to Melee Combat. And this one I have no excuse for, because I put a lot of work into Melee Combat, and that lot of work is going to pay off, because after this video, I have another video almost made that I'm not going to spoil for you, but the video after that will be Melee Combat Part 2. And this feels like a good time to segue, so I'd just like to say, if you want to see that, subscribe. But I'm sure it sounds like I was devoting a lot of my time to Melee Combat Part 2, and I was, so the question is, why was there no video about this 6 months ago? That's because around mid to late April, school got a little more complicated. Those of you that know me in person will know what I'm talking about. And those of you that don't, just take my word for it. I kind of was chugging along nicely until April, and then I kind of blacked out like an episode of Moon Knight, and I woke up like... Well, I'm still waiting for that. Although some of you who have been keeping a keen eye on my channel may have noticed I uploaded a few things here and there. For example, I posted a community post back in October, I think, that it said Melee Combat Part 2 would be out in November, and it wasn't. I also think I uploaded a short at some point about dismemberment and a little ragdoll, and I'm not going to tell you what I developed that dismemberment system for, because I'm very excited about that idea, and I hope I get to do it eventually. But the condensed version of this is that while my classes are still hard right now, hopefully I'll be able to keep a bit more of an organized schedule and actually produce some content. The upcoming slate for videos is this video, followed by a second video, which, like I said, I'm not spoiling, followed by Melee Combat Part 2, and then I really want to start work on my kind of big overarching progress. That's not the right word to use here. Then I really want to start work on my big overarching project called Doomsday Dummies. If you remember what my original avatar for my channel was, that kind of felt ragdoll looking guy, that ties into Doomsday Dummies. I believe I had an image on the background for my monitor at one point that also went along with it. Yeah, you'll see. Okay, it's gonna be good. But back to the topic at hand, how much money did I make from my mobile game? But before I just drop the base figure on you, I think it's important to front load this a little bit with how mobile games generate money. Also, I want to pump up the runtime. The way most mobile games make money is through ad watches, whether they're forced on the player or they voluntarily accept it to get some in-game benefit. But each individual ad watch does not generate a lot of money, so the name of the game is getting it out there to as many people as possible, and ideally getting them engaging with as many ads as possible. This explains two very common things I'm sure you've interacted with, which is A, you'll see the ad for the same mobile game splattered across all of YouTube and all of social media, and secondly, why so many games force ads on their player after every level, after every interaction, after pretty much any action that they do in the game, because even if it's just like 5 seconds of an ad that they skip, if you just pound ad after ad after ad on the player, it will generate revenue if you get it out to enough people. But the question is, how do you get your game in the hands of people? And one, I just explained, you could run ads for your game, but ads cost money, and seeing as I'm not making money off this hunk of junk being my YouTube channel and not the mobile game, I'm not going to put money out into it. I understand you have to spend money to make money, but I'd rather make money and then spend that money to make more money. Like, it's like investing, but you get a loan for your first investment. I think that's how it works. But the internet is a beautiful thing, and you don't actually need to pay to spread word about something. However, you do need to, spread the word about something if you want the word to spread. Which is why I made the brilliant decision to be completely dead on YouTube for the last year, not tweet, not post anything on Reddit, Instagram, anything, so that my channel could do this beautiful thing called stagnation. I'm sure a lot of you are surprised to see this video right now because I feel like after YouTubers reach that 1 year threshold of not uploading, it's kind of gone. Especially when you have a channel as small as mine, it's easy to walk away from. Which, granted, is probably why I haven't made a video in the last year. But with this in mind, that means that my game was pretty much only reaching the people already subscribed to my channel when I released that video. And you have to filter that number by the number of people who have an Android, filter that by the people who are willing to download an app, and then when you're talking actually money earned, you have to talk about people who are willing to keep an app and watch ads for it. And the real killer is that my game it's not fun. I knew this when I posted it, but the game's not fun, okay? It's boring. It's a really good idea. It would take absolutely nothing to fix it, except I haven't touched the Android side of it for a year, and I don't know how to do updates. So imagine as little reach as possible, and all I had to go off of was the garbage gameplay, and praying that my friends and family who I bullied into picking it up would make Google promote it somehow, which it didn't. So the question is, drum roll, how much money did my game make? Actually, let me check real quick to make sure I don't muff up this statistic. Holy crap, I made 6 cents yesterday? This is excellent timing to make this video. In total, my mobile game has made 84 cents. 84 American pennies. And this is exactly what I expected. Like I said from the very beginning, the point of my game was not to make money, but so that I could say I am a published game developer in an app store. And if you've poked around the app store, I know that's not a big feat, but it's another feather in my cap. This really underscores the big difference that a social media presence can have, because I'm sure a lot of you that see me are familiar with the YouTube channel Danny. He's a big inspiration for a lot of my content as well. You'll recall the mobile games he releases get a lot of money in the first 24 hours or so, and that's because he has a large fan base that goes out and immediately gets it, and even if all of them just watch a couple of ads, that's a decent amount of money. Also, his games are fun. But like I've said in my 2 videos in which I actually made the game, I'm not doing this for the money. It was doing it for the experience of doing it. I would have loved it if I had made money off of it, but I understand that the reality is that that's probably not going to happen, at least with this game. And I realize I sound jaded because that's kind of just what my voice does, but like I say, I knew this was going to happen. This is the plan, and that's the life of a mobile game developer. And I would like to clarify, I am not a mobile game developer. I do not want to be a mobile game developer. My plan is to make Doomsday Dummies, did I mention that title earlier? I've got big plans, and they aren't coming on a smartphone. And on that note, I'm going to end this video here and get back to working on those big plans. More realistically, I'm going to go to sleep because it's 12:15 in the morning, but tomorrow, big plans start. It's good to be back. It's good to